be focused on Buddhist meditation. Okay, so this is very different from the Western conception of just mindfulness. Okay, so the first thing that comes to mind when we talk about mindfulness is sitting still and observing our emotions, senses, and so forth. But the framework in which meditation was developed by the Buddha encompasses three aspects, which we will talk about very soon. So, in having said this, we will approach meditation more holistically and from the contextual framework of Buddhist practice. Okay. So, I've been asked many times, especially in the past, okay, why can't I just meditate and not practice Buddhism? Why do I have to do the whole shabam? Okay. The reason why we have to do the whole thing is because we can be happy in the moment as we meditate. Okay. But if we want to have prolonged happiness, sustained or sustainable happiness, it requires a certain degree of wisdom to pretty much inspire the type of living that results in happiness. Okay, so it is important that we understand the true reason behind happiness so that we can sustain it. And today's class will talk about the basics of how to sustain this happiness. Okay, so in our very busy workday, everything goes on, right? We have a very hectic schedule at work. We have many emotions raging. And it is important for us to be able to, in our very busy day, maintain this sense of happiness. So this is where the equation of sustainable happiness comes into play. Are we able to meditate everywhere? Yes or no? It's not a trick question. Yes, it's true. Okay, but if we wanted to meditate everywhere, it does require some wisdom. We need wisdom to inform us how to meditate in every waking moment for us to be happy no matter the circumstances. So this is where wisdom and morality comes into play. So this is what we're going to cover this very first lesson. So yes, the threefold training in Buddhism, morality, meditation, and wisdom, are the cardinal aspects of Buddhist practice as well as the practice of a meditator who is trying to sustain this sense of happiness. Okay. How would you define the word happiness? How would you define the word happiness?
I think
person, I'm already getting you guys talking.
being
Yes,
in the
ma'am.
present moment is being happy, being in the present moment.
Okay, so we have an online friend here saying that being in the present moment. Indeed, being in the present moment is one part of being happy. So we could be in the present moment, but are we necessarily happy? Well, to some degree, at least when we're in the present moment, it means that we're focused on nothing more than the present moment. So we don't have the opportunity to give rise to a lot of afflictions. So yes, to some degree, being in the present moment is the first step to becoming happy. Who else would like to try to define happiness? Peaceful and pleasant, yes. Who else would like to add to this? Intent, oh yes. So the word sati, mindfulness. Okay, many a times we think mindfulness as a reactive way of living. So basically we're just paying attention to all the nuances in life. But being intent, sati also means hold true to our mind, sustain a particular state of mind. So it means that we have mental themes that we hold true to, things like loving kindness and compassion. So being intentful living, okay, is also another important aspect. You raise your hand. Be content with yourself. Okay, we can't really change what we are right now, but we can live in a way that changes the future. Okay, so it means that in Buddhism, past, present, and future are pretty much the same thing. because what we are now is a product of our previous doings. What we're doing now paves the way to our future being. So it's empowering, right? What we do now is important. What we weren't before or what we are right now, okay, we can live with it. We have to accept it because it's not going to change in a split second. Okay. So yes, okay, last two people. Okay, what is happiness? We've covered the basics. Who else would like to try? Peace in mind, okay. And lucky last. Acceptance. So there are many things that happen in our life, okay, the vicissitudes of life. And a lot of things happen for a reason from a Buddhist perspective. So we have choices. We have choices in life. Things come before us. We can either accept them, work with them for the better, or we can turn against them and cause a lot of discord in our minds. The choice is ours. Okay, so as a Buddhist meditator, a meditator takes on this mindset that things happen for a reason. And everything happens for a reason. So the vicissitudes of life happen for a reason. And because they do, if we can use the wisdom that we have to see that everything happens for a reason, we can work towards improving the situation, if need be, through our wisdom, okay, to see that everything is dependent on origination. We work with it. Okay. So having this, being empowered to accept things the way they are and work towards a better outcome is the spirit of Buddhism. And intentful living, living with the right mindset, is equally important. Okay, so the three trainings work with three layers of the mind. Okay, so let's say the mind is a very complex thing. It is. But if we break it down, it becomes so much easier to understand. So we say that in the core of the mind, we have the subconscious tendencies. These tendencies are conditioned over many lifetimes, not just this. So if you look within and notice that you react to situations in a particular way, if you're always reacting with, for example, anger, then the subconscious tendency of anger is something not just from this lifetime. It's conditioned over many. And these subconscious tendencies will pretty much condition every single experience to have a bit of itself. So that's why subconscious tendencies are very important. Secondly, we have the active mental states. So we call them mental actions, because every movement of the mind is an action. So in a current state of being, let's say the split second here, sometimes we have thoughts of happiness, sometimes we have thoughts of jealousy, sometimes we have thoughts of anger, greed. Okay, all these active states, these are happening right now. Okay, so meditation actually deals or addresses this particular state of mind. Okay. Now we have the physical and verbal actions. And in Buddhism we say that all our physical and verbal deeds, they are all the workings of the mind. Okay, who can prove me wrong? Who can try to prove me wrong? Yeah? You can try to observe the mind. Everything you say, try to look within and see if it is inspired by the mind. Everything we do, if we look deeply within, try to determine whether it is inspired by the mind. In 10 out of 10 cases, it is. Okay, everything is a manifestation of the mind. So that is why morality is very important. Okay, to have a moral grounding, albeit at the beginning, a morality that we learn to adopt. These are very important in guiding ourselves to prevent regret in life. Okay, a lot of regret happens because we don't keep our actions and speech at bay. We let it roam and then we do things which are contrary to inner peace. Okay. So the wisdom that we're talking about is the understanding that everything changes. Everything is in a state of fluidness, in flux. And because of that, a lot of things changes. The more we embrace the state of change, the more we're able to see that even our subconscious tendencies, they are just a passing phenomena. And we're able to adjust the way we react to situations at the moment when we have this understanding. So we talk about mind engineering. The moment we see something wrong, we replace that particular negative thought with a wholesome one. And soon the subconscious tendencies change over time, over the continuum. So this is the framework in which Buddhist meditation comes into being. Okay. The word morality, okay, the word morality has somewhat a negative connotation, as though it is rules imposed on ourselves. But the true meaning of morality in a Buddhist sense is more like Shila, inner harmony, inner peace, the ethical compass that is already embedded in all of us. Okay. So in Buddhism we say that all of us, all of you here, have the potentiality to become just like Buddha, okay, the Buddha here. It is because of our ignorance and delusion in our subsequent actions which lead us away, further away from this pureness, this purity that has always been there. So let's say deep down, we already have this purity and peace, and things we do informed by delusion go against it. So it's like a bit of a pull. It's like you already have this angel inside, and then the demon is leading you away from the angel inside. Okay. So there's going to be a lot of discord inside, internally, when we do things against morality. Okay. Let us take the example of lying. When you lie to someone, are you able to maintain clear conscience? Who can? No one. Who cannot? Well, most people. That means you are in the spectrum of sanity. Okay, most sane people, to some degree, they have a sense of regret for doing wrong things. And the whole regret comes from the fact that we were originally pure inside. So anything that goes against this purity causes a lot of discontent in our minds. So if you lie, you have to back up your lie. And by backing up your lie, there's this endless cycle of lying to cover up previous lies. It just doesn't work. Likewise, if you hurt someone, you're going to have regret, knowing that you have gone against this clear conscience. Even though you don't notice it now, you'll feel irritable. You'll feel that it's very hard to sleep at night. You'll have insomnia if you hurt people a lot. This is because we're going against this clear conscience. So by according to morality, we're trying to promote clear conscience. Okay. So the basic framework in Buddhism for morality are the 5 precepts. Not killing, not stealing, not lying, not engaging in sexual misconduct, and not taking intoxicants. So when we do not kill, we return to the purity of mind that does not hurt people. Okay. When we do not steal, we don't have to worry about getting caught. Okay. When we do not lie, we don't have to worry about having to cover up our lies and so forth. Okay. So from another perspective, do we all want physical safety? Do we all want to feel that we're not going to be harmed? Yes? Likewise, if we want to be safe, if we want to feel safe, we also need to contribute to this feeling of safety by upholding the precepts. Likewise, with lying, if we want to feel that we can trust humanity, likewise, we need to contribute to truthfulness. If we want to live in a world where we can trust people in terms of relationships, then of course we need to be full of integrity with relationships. With intoxicants, it's a little bit different. It's very different to take medication, that's drugs, okay, as opposed to drugs that alter our clear sense of consciousness. The reason why we do not take drugs is because we're trying to maintain a clear mind necessary towards meditation. So anything that alters that state of clarity is considered an intoxicant and something we try to stay clear of. So it's a cover precept. It's not actually a cardinal precept, but it is something in which we avoid so as to not cloud our minds. Okay. So the second half of morality is dealing with mental states. So let's say we are inspired by greed and anger. We have a mind of greed and anger. Is it easy for you to maintain peace? Not really. Okay, let's use a very real life example of this, right? How many of you are anticipating the iPhone 15? Okay, some people are smiling, okay? Well, a lot of people are. We have to be honest with ourselves, right? So let's say there's the iPhone 15 coming out. If every waking moment you're thinking, the delays, what's going to happen? Your mind will be consumed by this greed. And it's very hard for you to find peace. Likewise, if there's something you like in life and you cannot get it straight away, you'll have this overwhelming desire towards that particular object. And it's very hard for you to find peace in the here and now. Likewise, if something has happened with someone and that person has cheesed you off and you're getting all angry against this person, is it going to be easy for you to find peace? Not really, because every waking moment you're going to be consumed by anger. So in Buddhism, there's the analogy that one thought of anger burns away the forest of merit and virtue that we have accumulated over time. So morality is not just physical. It just doesn't work with our actions and speech. It works at the mental level. We can have not killed someone, but our mind would have, right? So we need to be able to tame the mind in a way that it doesn't kill, it doesn't steal, it doesn't do all these things, it doesn't become greedy. And this is something which meditation offers. The moment we allow the mind to focus on one thing, and when the mind wanders off, the moment we bring it back to the point of focus, or the object of meditation, we say, is the moment we afford ourselves the chance to make the right decisions. It is the moment we are able to not be taken away by these mental actions which are negative and unwholesome and harmful for ourselves. So in having said this, the ability to work with the mind, to become friends with the mind, and to employ the mind in meditative tasks that lead to control of the mind, we're able to see through these problems. Okay, so meditation gives us a choice. After meditation, there are so many choices in life. So many choices that we can make the right decisions and work towards goodness. When the mind becomes in accord with the wisdom of the Buddha, with wholesomeness, purity, then the mind becomes unified. So in meditation, there's this concept that body, speech, and mind need to be unified. It needs to be at the same place. And when it is, everything is peaceful. Okay, so this is the point in which we start to have sustainable happiness, when we're able to unify the mind when we need to. Okay? In working towards morality, the other important thing is livelihood. Okay, how we sustain life. So there are two aspects of this. Firstly, it has to do with your occupation. Okay, so let's say we have an occupation which helps people. Most likely you're going to be able to sleep well every night because everything you're doing is for the betterment of humanity. But there are times in which our livelihood adds to this dilemma. We're trying to live peacefully, but what we're doing is going against this inner conscience that wants peace. Things like professions that rely on deception, okay, professions that rely on killing, okay, all these professions are not so ideal if we want sustainable happiness. It's not to say that go change your job right now. It's saying that we have choices, okay. So the livelihood that we choose will definitely influence whether we're going to be happy people sustainably. The second part of livelihood relates to whether we live life in moderation. So do we have enough sleep? Do we have good sleep? Do we have good exercise? Okay. Do we have good routines in life? All these, do we have good diets? Okay. All these will definitely affect our quality of life. Okay. How many here are vegetarians? Oh, we have quite a few herbivores here. That's good on you, because if we have a herbivore diet, what really happens with our digestion is that things pass quickly. So when things pass quickly, it means that we don't have as much toxins in the body. Okay? The slower food takes to process in the body, the more chances that toxins will start producing. And then toxins will mean that the body will be run down. And it's very hard to meditate when all these things are going on. Okay. I'm not going to name names, but we do have a vegetarian chef here inside this classroom. So if you need some advice, look for me. I'll link you up with that person. Okay. So a vegetarian diet will definitely allow you to maintain a body that is nice and light and is not weighed down by toxins. Okay, likewise, if you have a lot of GERD, like if you have a lot of, reflux, if you have gastric issues like acid and all that kind of stuff, vegetarianism will fix it, because the problem with acid is the food remains in the tummy for too long, in the gut for too long, and then, acid will form. So vegetarianism is very powerful in dealing with this. Okay, so when we try to couple morality with wisdom, we have a situation where we have the product of this intention to let go. Okay? The intention to let go of all the unwholesome things, and the intention to pick up all that which is wholesome. So in life you already have choices, and when the choices arise before you, wholesome things we try to develop further, and unwholesome things we let go, like letting go of baggage which is holding us down. Okay, the moment you let go of one thought of anger, just observe for yourself how free the mind becomes. Okay, the moment you let go of 2 thoughts, 3 thoughts, 4 thoughts, this sense of freedom becomes more and more pronounced. And at this point, true freedom arises, okay, because of morality, because of letting go of the unwholesome. So, in meditation, I need to re-emphasize, we have the intention of letting go the unwholesome, but engaging in the positive and the wholesome. So a meditator is not someone who is trying to find reprieve from the world. He's not someone who is going to live in recluse. Okay, this person will let go of the unwholesome, but also actively pick up the wholesome and engage in life 100% in the right way. Okay, so a true meditator in Buddhism will be someone who is very proactive in doing the right things. In meditation, there are 2 aspects. Okay, everything mentioned today is just a brief outline, so that we're we're good on the word go. There's two parts. Samatha, which means stopping, ceasing, serenity. All these words can be used to interpret the word shamatha, which is a Sanskrit word. Okay? So it means to, as mentioned before, to let go of all those things which weigh us down. Okay? And this leads to a sense of peace. But it's not enough to stay there. We need to actively live with intent. We need to live with a mind full of loving kindness and compassion. And we need to live with a mind that is driven towards the right path. Okay, we will talk about the right path later on. And vipassana is pretty much the second part. Okay, it is not just the observation of the Dharma in all things. It is the active upholding in mind of these dharmas and practice of it, manifestation through body and speech. So samatha and vipassana are the two aspects of Buddhism and Buddhist practice which are important. So with any meditation session, it's kind of like we can't just go straight into meditation from a very busy schedule. Okay, it's going to be a rude awakening, and it's going to be very difficult to find that mental equilibrium. So usually before any session, there's a process of zoning in and then zoning out and returning to your daily life. And sooner or later, when the mind becomes calm more often, then you're able to switch into this state faster, so that in every waking moment you have the opportunity to practice. Right? So back to that question that someone asked me, can I just meditate and do nothing else? Don't learn the Dharma. It's very difficult. Okay. Tell me, can meditation be practiced when we're standing? Yes. Walking? Lying down? Yes. So apart from setting meditation, which induces very deep states of meditation, we can also generalize this state of meditation to all things. And very soon after we learn the methods, you're going to be able to meditate when you walk. You're going to be able to meditate when you wait in line at the stores or whatever. Okay, so it's very powerful. And it only takes you a split second to zone in. Okay. So with meditation, the first part, samatha, there's this process of relaxing the body. Okay, we say that the body, the breath and the mind are intricately connected. So because it's very difficult to work with the mind itself straight away, it's important that we work with the body, the outer manifestation of the mind. So when the body is nice in the right state, the breath becomes nice and fine. And the breath is actually a direct correlation with the mind. So when the mind becomes calm, the breath becomes calm. Likewise, when the breath becomes calm, the mind becomes calm as well. Okay, so let's experiment for a while. Let's close our eyes, sit nicely on your chair or on your cushions, and take 3 deep breaths. In from the nose, into the abdomen, and open your mouth to exhale. As you breathe in the light of wisdom, wear a smile, and as you breathe out, exhale all the tensions and worries. Breathing in deeply into the diaphragm, open your mouth and exhale. And slowly open your eyes. How does that feel? Very relaxing. Okay? The power of the breath. And don't forget to breathe. So the breath is very important. The first thing is to relax the body. The second is to regulate the breath in a way that accords to stillness of the mind. Okay, we will talk about the techniques very shortly. And thirdly, when the mind becomes calmer, the breath becomes calmer. At this point, we can start observing the breath, the nuances of the breath, and this further focuses the mind on the task at hand. Okay. So this is just a general overview of what it takes. So from this point on, I will be talking about the techniques as we try them physically. Okay? So without further ado, I'm going to have everyone try the second part, which is step-by-step relaxation visualization. To do this, the easiest method is to stand up. Okay? So if we can all stand up, have your hands by the side, relax the bodies. Okay, so both hands by the side of your bodies, and just for a moment try to relax the entire body as it is, without too much mental effort. We are now going to take 3 deep breaths at your own pace, as we did before. All the while wearing a gentle smile and slowly adopting a peaceful, light, and airy mental space. Slowly bring your focus to the crowns of your heads, which is the top of your head. And slowly we're going to start scanning the body from head all the way down, one step at a time. Starting with the scalp, visualize that all the skin and muscles are completely relaxing. Sometimes it's easy to uphold the mental note of relax. Relax the muscles in your forehead, allowing all the creases in your forehead to completely relax. Relax all the muscles around the eyes, the entire eye cavity completely relaxing. Even the tissues connecting the eye are completely relaxing. Relaxing the nose, it's okay if your nose gets a little bit runny. It usually does if it's this time of year. Relax your nose completely, visualizing that all the sinuses are clearing. All the tendons inside the nose, ligaments, completely relaxing. The cheekbone relaxing, the ears relaxing, the entire jaw relaxing. The throat relaxing, the neck relaxing, shoulders relaxing, arms and forearms relaxing. And then moving to the chest, the entire chest relaxing, the stomach relaxing, the lower abdomen relaxing, and then moving to the back to visualize that all the muscles in the back from top to bottom are relaxing. Bring your attention to the spine. Pay attention to the spine starting from the top. And starting from the very first vertebrae, the cervical vertebrae, slowly release tension one vertebrae at a time downwards. Visualizing that the vertebrae is releasing tension. And now bring your attention to the pelvis and unlock the tension by gently allowing the tailbone, so the lower back, to gently drop backwards. And further visualize all the muscles around the bottom relaxing. Relax all the muscles in your thighs, hamstrings, letting go of tension. Unlock the knees by gently letting them drop forward a little bit. And allow the knees to completely relax. Relax the muscles along the shins and calves. Moving further down, relax the muscles in your ankles. And your feet. And then visualize all the remaining tension in the body traveling downwards through the feet into the ground below, so that the body is completely relaxed. Take a moment to notice how heavy the body is by noticing the pressure of the soles of the feet against the ground. and center yourself in the understanding that every day we have to move around this chunk of flesh that is so heavy every single day. And obviously be accepting of this. Slowly bring your focus to the entire body. So just a very widened, relaxed observation of the entire body. And just for a moment, pay attention to the sensations of the outside environment. So basically put the sensations of the skin in general. Being aware of the sensations of the clothing that we wear, and also aware of the air against the skin, without trying to ascertain what type of sensation it is, just to become aware. As we maintain this awareness of the entire body, we will simultaneously and very loosely bring our awareness to the abdomen area as we breathe in and out. Within this general mindfulness of the entire body, we are observing the rise and fall of the abdomen as we inhale and exhale. Slowly we will bring our focus primarily back to the skin, visualizing that the skin has many pores, skin pores, and visualizing that all the breathing in and out is no longer through the nostrils, but through the pores of the skin. As you very naturally breathe in and out without trying to control the breath. Breathing in, we can observe the cool air against the skin. And as we exhale naturally, we can feel the warm, expired air exiting the pores of the skin. So again, at this point, it's breathing in and out through the nose, but visualizing that this breathing is happening through the pores of the skin. At this point, as the mind becomes quiet, thoughts may arise, emotions may arise, but we're not trying to be taken away by these thoughts and emotions. So at this point, you may ask yourself nice and gently, what should I be doing right now? I should be focusing on breathing through the pores of the skin. Slowly bring your focus back to the abdomen as we take 3 deep breaths. In from the nose, into the abdomen, and open your mouth to exhale. All the while focusing on the breath. Slowly open your eyes and give yourself a moment to slowly reorientate with your senses. Very gently bringing your attention back to the colors, shapes you see, and to the auditory senses. And when you are ready to take a seat. Okay, so that was the process of relaxation. We haven't even got started. How does everyone feel after the relaxation part? Yeah? Relaxed? So let's say you're waiting in line at Walmart for your turn to check out. Well, you can do this for about 2 minutes. If you're waiting for the bus, I know in Los Angeles public transport is not a thing, but if you're waiting anywhere, standing meditation is the thing. Probably next week or the week after, I'll be teaching everyone walking meditation, and that's something you can do whenever you're walking. Okay, so that's something else. So we've covered relaxation. This is one method. There are many methods when it comes to relaxation. So over the next few weeks, I'll be introducing different methods after we nail this one. Okay, so the breath is so important. Sometimes when we cannot understand the mental state that we have at a particular moment, what we can do is notice the breath. If the breath is shallow, short, and erratic, most likely it means that the mind is in a very similar state. Short-fused, sporadic in terms of focus, and also like a monkey jumping around with emotions. So next time, if you don't know what state of mind you are at, usually before you blow, that's the kind of situation. We don't know what's going on until it's too late. And then it all vents out. So the breath is important. It's a good indicator. So work with the breath, be friends with it, and try to work with it to refine the mind. In terms of the techniques of counting the breath, I'll be talking about probably the first one today, counting. So whereas when we do the deep breathing to relax the body and to get ourselves in the zone, we breathe in from the nose and out from the mouth. But when we are trying to do meditation, we are predominantly breathing in from the nose and out from the nose. Okay. Who here has blocked sinuses? Who has blocked nose? Okay, one person, two people. We're lucky. Sometimes we have many more. So if we do have a blocked nose, don't kill yourself by trying to force yourself to breathe through the nose. We don't need casualties here for meditation class. It's not a good thing. So if you do have a blocked nose, there are techniques to unblock the nose. Okay, firstly, obviously there's medication, but antihistamines are not good on a long-term basis. There are actually exercises you can do with your breathing. So alternate breathing with your nostrils. It's only a few people, so we can do like personal session on this. We don't need to do it for the class. But there are ways of clearing one nostril at a time. Okay, so that's something we can cover. So when we breathe in and out, there are several points of focus according to the need at that time. So let's say you're in a very stable, mellow state of mind. The usual point of focus is between the nostrils and top lip, so it's just this area here. Right. If the mind is very tired, lethargic, okay, you can raise the point of focus higher up, okay, to the point between the eyes. This should only be used sparingly, only when you're really, really tired. Because we've had people who do this all the time and they start hallucinating. Okay, they're not hallucinating because they're seeing stuff, but it's because a lot of the blood flow and energy is accumulated around this area. Okay, who knows what's behind this area of the forehead? What part of the brain? Yeah, prefrontal lobe cortex, which is in charge of what? Executive function. Okay, so a lot of the active mental states happen there. So when you have an accumulation of qi and energy there, then vivid imagery start to appear. Okay, it's okay, you're not on LSD. You're on natural LSD. See, the thing with meditation is the mind is so powerful that a lot of what you experience taking drugs is experienced when you meditate wrongly. So the thing about meditation is it's self-sufficient. You don't need drugs to get you in particular states, okay? So if you feel that that is happening, it's okay. All you have to do is open your eyes, and those flashes of colors will disappear. Slowly, you can bring your focus further down to rectify the situation. Likewise, if you're all worked up because of your daily living, and you're trying to get into meditation, and you feel that it is impossible to focus on this area because the mind is too busy, then we focus lower down. We focus on the abdomen. Okay, so there are a few points that I need to bring your attention to. So for gentlemen, usually the area in which we focus is called the navel. In Chinese medicine, it's called the sea of energy. So if we focus down here, we're going to truly allow the qi in the body to flow like crazy. Okay, so good qi means good meditation. So it's 2 fingers width distance from the belly button downwards. So let's say the belly button is here. It's 2 finger width down. So probably 1 inch from where it is. So when you focus on that point, try to focus on as narrow as a point, as specific a point as possible. And that way we maintain focus. It's easy to like lose focus there as opposed to here, because here there's a very clear sensation of inhalation and exhalation, right? So when you have your focus here, make sure that you try to narrow the focus as much as possible. But there are times when the mind, we'll talk about contingencies later on, but that's the general gist of it, okay? For ladies, 2 fingers width above the belly button. Okay, this will prevent yourselves from stimulating certain areas of the body, which lead to excessive blood flow during the time of month. So this is just one point of detail that we need to pay attention to when we have different genders. Okay, so that area is very powerful for calming the mind when need be. Okay, and then obviously during a session, you switch as needed. So if you get tired after calming down too much, then you bring your attention back to here. There's another area which we can focus on, but it's not recommended. That is the chest area. The reason why we don't focus on that area is because it's very hard to pinpoint a particular area in which the breath will flow. It's too much of an empty cavity here. So we don't really focus on here. So it's either here, here, here or here. Okay, the three areas. Any questions thus far? No? Online? No? So we will continue with the first method. Counting the breath is very helpful. Trust me, you'll soon realize why. Okay. So the counting of the breath should have the main focus on the breathing itself. The counting is supplemental. It is a kind of training wheel system for focusing on the breath. It is a situation where if you focus 100% on the breath from the beginning, it's very hard. It's very easy to lose motivation. So the training wheels are a subtle awareness of which breath you are at. So the counting happens because of this. So originally, there are many ways of counting, okay? The standard, if you have been practicing for a while, is counting in sets of 10. So breathing in, breathing out. The moment you start breathing out, you count 1. Breathing in, breathing out. The moment you start breathing out, you count 2. All the way to 10, and then repeat at 1. So in the event you get lost, don't think, oh, which number am I at? Was it 3? Was it 4? I don't know. Start at 1 again. Okay, this process is very powerful in establishing the mental habit of setting the mind on one task and resetting when it wanders off. Very powerful. If this is too difficult, count to 5, okay, and then start at 1 again. It's easier. And even if that is too difficult, there is another method. Okay, the third method of counting is to count to 10 per breath. So inhalation, breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breathing out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, this is the fail-safe method. Okay, if all else fails, this is the one to use. Okay, especially when you have a lot of emotions raging. It also works to the effect of allowing the breath to be more regulated. Okay, so these are the 3 methods of focusing on the breath. So as mentioned before, when the mind wanders off, okay, the more you try to forcefully bring it back, it's going to resist you, right? The mental habituations in the mind, the mind is quite rebellious. When you want it to do one thing, it's going to want to do the other thing. So the easiest way is to very gently ask yourself, hey, whatever your name is, okay, hi, hey Graciela, what am I supposed to be doing right now? I should be focusing on the breathing. Okay, I should be doing that, and bring it back slowly. Okay? So after a while, you realize that the mind will be very busy. Okay, you're probably going to have in half an hour of sitting, about 20, 30 times the mind wanders off. It's okay. Just bring it back. Okay. So this is observation of the breath as we count. The second method is when you have achieved a very steady stage of meditation where you're able to count the breath without too much interruption. At that point, you can observe the length of the inhalation and the length of the exhalation. But for the first few weeks, we will be focusing primarily on counting the breath to get this momentum going. Okay? So now we're going to, for the very first sitting session of our semester, we will try to get ourselves in the right posture for sitting. So for now, please take off your shoes and take off your watches, jewelry, anything that restricts your blood flow. If you're wearing belts, to loosen them. If you have glasses, if you need to see the first part, keep them on. And the point when we start meditation, make sure to take them off. Okay, make sure your cell phones are on silent, as for the sitting session, it has to be silent. Okay. So first of all, I'd like to introduce you to several sitting postures. The first posture is called the Burmese posture, by which your two heels are in line with your body. So in one straight line, you have both heels, one in front of the other. Okay? The important thing with any of your postures is to keep switching sides with your session. So this session, my right foot's in front. Next session, the left foot has to be in front. Reason being is because we don't want the spine to develop according to our sitting posture. Okay, very important point here. The Burmese method is very helpful if you have bad knees, but you have good pelvises. Okay. As you can feel, there's not much pressure on your knees. Okay. The second method, not so ideal, is to sit the way you do at school, or used to sit at school, and that is to have your two feet under both knees, just like this. Okay. The third method is considered the quarter lotus position. So it's kind of like the Burmese, but one of your feet, regardless whether left or right, is above the alternating calf. Okay, so at this point, you'll feel that the toes are in line with the space between your thighs and calves. It's just tucked here, right? So this is the quarter lotus. The important thing is that we're able to maintain a steady posture for about half an hour. At this point, try to make sure that the knees are touching the cushion, okay? Some of you have longer legs like me, so they're not going to touch, but it's fine, okay? As long as it's kind of touching. So let's say one foot is raised like this due to flexibility issues. What we do is we take a prop like this and stick it under the knee, and that way we can maintain steadiness in our sitting. Okay, so flexibility takes time, and it's nothing to be rushed. Yeah, starting next session, we probably will talk about stretching. So this is the quarter lotus, and then the half lotus is where that foot that's on top is brought further, so it's above the thigh. So this will give you more stability, but with the prerequisite of flexibility, okay? And then you can have the full lotus, whereby both of your feet are above like this, above your thighs, okay? So don't do this if you cannot, because we don't want you to die. We don't want to hospitalize anyone. That's not the point of meditation. With flexibility, I might as well go through the basics of how to stretch and release tension in the pelvis to be able to stretch properly. Okay, it's very interesting, but I do suggest doing it in private because it can be a little bit embarrassing for some people. So what you do is you have your 2 feet together. Okay, and then you hold it close to your body, and then you flap your feet like this. Flap your thighs. Okay, you do this as much as you can, very gently allowing your body to relax by itself. And then sooner or later, you're able to bend down like this as much as you can, okay? Slowly, keeping your back straight, go forward as much as you can, okay? So about 2 minutes into the flapping, then you start moving down, okay? And then if you want to bend down, use your elbows, your 2 elbows, to push down on your thighs. And as you go down, try to push it a little bit more each time. Okay, so this is just the general gist. And now we're going to continue with the sitting posture. So get yourself in the preferred sitting posture. From next week, we will have spare cushions, like the small cushions, if you need to raise your bottom a little bit. And we have towels if you need to prop your knees up a little bit. If you need it now, you can go get it. But if not, next week, if you do this session, you feel like next week you need it, when you come in, go get what you need first and then sit down. Okay. With the towel, what we do is we take the 2 ends here and we open it up like this. And place it on your foot and tuck it in nice and tightly. Okay. Our hands are in the meditation mudra. So left hand bottom, right hand top, both palms facing up, and thumbs gently touching like this. Okay. For those online, and place your hands in front of your bellies, just like this. So let's say when you sit down, your body tends to tilt backwards. It means that the hands need to come closer to the body, right? But if you feel that you're tilting forwards a little bit more, you can have your hands out a little bit more. So it's like leverage. And once we have our hands in the right position, we relax the back and gently push back on the shoulders. And with the chin, we tuck it in gently, the tips of our tongues against the palate, which is behind the top teeth. So the reason why we do this is we regulate saliva production so that we don't get a dry throat. With our eyes, we can either have them slightly open, like 1/4, fixed at a point about 3 feet in front of you. That is only when your mind is very tired. But if your mind is not tired, you can completely close them gently and then just focus on your meditation. So these are the 7 points. The 7 points of allowing the body to be in the right posture for meditation. We only have 5 minutes. Oh no. So we're going to have a 2-minute session of meditation, and then we have to exit meditation. So as we have been discussing, may we all have ourselves in a posture and start focusing on the breath. At 3 strikes of the wooden fish, we will begin our meditation session with 1 strike to conclude it. Okay. Remember to focus on the breath and count it. Slowly take 3 deep breaths. Rock the body forward and backwards slowly. And then to the left and right. And then rotate the body with the hips clockwise and then anti-clockwise. And then return to the original position. We'll be rubbing our palms together. Using your palms to massage the eyes, the scalp, the neck. Rub your palms again. Massage the shoulders, arms and forearms. Rub your palms. And gently, with your palms in a cupped position, pat down your chest, abdomen, thighs, knees and calves, and then bottom and lower back. Rub your palms again. And place them over your lower back. Give them a good rub as we breathe in deeply. Bend down. Hold your breath, keep rubbing. Bend backwards and exhale. Again. Hands on your lower back, rub. Breathe in deeply. Bend down. Continue rubbing. Bend backwards and exhale. Okay, last time. Rub. Breathe in. Hold your breath. Bend forward. Bend backwards and exhale. Okay. This is my world record, 2-minute meditation. Never in my life. Now we are going to remove the towel. So we're going to do things in the reverse order. Take the lower flap from below and fold it together with the logo facing outwards. Okay, for those at home, if you're sitting on a chair, you don't need to cross your legs. You can sit on half of your chair with your feet flat on the ground, knees bent at a 90-degree angle. My apologies, I noticed that the video you see here, you cannot see my legs. So on the Google Classroom Drive, I will be uploading the sitting postures for you to take reference from. My apologies, there's a limited space to how much can be seen from the camera here. Okay, time is very short. I think we're 2 minutes over. We still need to be mindful of time. So we're going to slowly release the legs one at a time. If your feet feel numb, please give them a bit of a wriggle. Give your toes a wriggle as well and ankles. And when you're ready to replace your shoes mindfully and softly. Okay, so for next week's session, we will have probably about a 20-minute session of sitting, probably 30 depending on the situation. So at least we can work more on the practice itself. If you have any questions, please leave them in a Google Classroom. For those online, for those live, any questions? No? Okay, if not, yes?
Most meditation is focusing.
Yes. So most meditation happens like ideally between the nostrils and top lip. So that was the area in which the Buddha had entered meditation to reach samadhi, one-pointed concentration, before he became enlightened through his wisdom. Okay, so it's the tried and proven. Like ideally this is the point, but these are contingencies as needed. Okay, so without further ado, okay, twitching. So for the twitching part, it's usually because we have qi in the body. When there are blockages of qi, we twitch. So sometimes it's the legs twitching like this, sometimes it's the whole body like doing this. It's fine, open your eyes the moment it happens. And when you get confident enough, there are ways to deal with it, to let it pass. But we will talk about it in more detail further on. Okay, so without further ado, thank you for coming to the first session, and I look forward to seeing you all next session. For those live, we do have an English Buddhist chanting service happening at 11 o'clock just by the pagoda, which is about a 2-minute walk up the hill for those who are interested. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys next week. Thank you.